Hello, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, Wednesday, May 4th, 2020. May the 4th be with you. If you know, you know. If you don't know, where have you been? Um, for like decades. I am Holly Berube. Welcome to my personal page. And this is what has been affectionately deemed the Holly Show by my cousin because I used to do live streams here back in 2017 ish. For a long time. And so I've decided to resurrect it and bring it back. And my commitment is to bring you content that will support you in your relationships and not just in yes, for your romantic partnerships and in your dating life, but also these things I'll be showing you and teaching you are going to ideally support you in having a more self aware, mindful, patient, responsive instead of reactive way of handling situations in your relationship with everyone that you care about. So, although I'm talking specifically about romantic relationships, and I am a relationship coach, I promise you that some of this is going to apply to everyone. And today's topic is a really good topic. What I'm going to be talking with you about today is, did your partner upset you? Okay, so yeah, they upset you at some point, maybe recently. And did you talk to them about it? Okay, yes, you did talk to them about it. Here's why that didn't work. Here's why it didn't work. Here's why it's not sticking. And so I'll be sharing with you today what inevitably was causing your conversation with them about how you were upset to not stick. And I'm going to tell you what to do different. Good morning, Mitchell. Good to see you. Always good to see you, my friend. So, yes, if you are here watching live, please say hello in the comments. Tell me where you are watching from. You can put a 1 in the comments or type live. Put a 2 in the comments if you're watching on the replay or type replay. And whenever I am not live, on the stream and you catch this later on, I always come back. I read comments, I answer questions. And if there's anything that you see on my page that you would like for me to expand on or do a video about, please tell me either in a comment or just private message me, DM me. Because that's actually how today's video came about. I'm waiting a couple more minutes because sometimes Facebook takes like 10 minutes to tell people that I'm live. So I'm giving it yesterday. There we go. There's people. Anyway, so hello again. Please put a 1 in the comments if you're live, a 2 in the comments if you're watching on the replay. And real quick, my name is Holly Berube. I am a relationship coach. I'm a certified professional relationship coach, and I am here to give you content Monday through Thursday. Good morning, Shark. Good to see you. Hey, Connie. Yeah, so if you are here Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern-ish. I'm working on getting closer to 8:30. It's been a challenge this week, but it's happening. I go live. You can always come back. So Monday through Thursday, new content that'll help you in your relationships, mindfulness tips, self-awareness, advice, and of course, I will answer your questions in the comments when you say hello and all that stuff. Okay. So let's go into the topic because I think it's been long enough to let people be here. So yesterday I posted a quote on my social media and it said, oh gosh, I don't have it in front of me and I should have. It says something along the lines of, if you just talked about it and you didn't ask for what you need, you're not going to be happy with the outcome of that conversation. Basically, talking about it doesn't work. So I had a couple comments on that saying, can you tell us more? Explain this. And I'm like, oh, I'll do this in the Holly Show tomorrow. That's much easier than me typing it all up. So let me paint the picture. I've had countless clients over the years where they're upset about something with their significant other or even like with their mother or with their child or something, okay? And they say, I've told him, I've told her, I have said something, I have mentioned it, I have talked about it. Hey, Stephanie, hello. Like, I've talked about it, I've talked about it, I've talked about it. And I'm like, okay, so you had a conversation? And they said, yes. And then I'm like, okay, tell me about the conversation. And they tell me how they sat them down or whatever. And they were like, listen, you do this and you do this, and it upsets me or it hurts my feelings, or I feel disrespected or I feel crushed. And this has got to stop. Okay. Good morning, Laura. And this has got to stop, right? Or we can't do this anymore. Notice those two statements. this has got to stop, or we can't do this anymore, they both end with a period. That's very important here. They both end with a period. This has got to stop. We can't do this anymore. Or just insert whatever you want to insert instead. Hi. Insert whatever you want to insert instead. But the point is, those are statements and they have a period on the end of it. So when I say to my client, hey, Shar, you're live again. So my point is, I say to the client, okay, well, what was the outcome of you talking about it? Because they'll call that talking about it. We talked about it. I've talked about it. We've mentioned it. I've talked about it. And I'm like, okay, what was the outcome? And they're like, there isn't an outcome. Nothing changes. It's the same thing. I have talked about it. I have told them it hurts my feeling. I have told them that it's this, and like, it gets better. And here's another thing. It gets better for a little bit and then it goes back. Okay. So type yes in the comments if you've ever had this happen to you. Type yes in the comment. And I'm laughing because I'm certain there will be people that say yes, because I kid you not, I have been listening to the same situation, client after client, year after year, for so long. Yes, here they come. So what ends up happening, and I say to them, okay, what did you ask them for? Very important question. I asked them in our coaching call, what did you ask them for? And they said, well, I told them that it hurts my feelings and we can't do this. And then they don't change. And I'm like, baby, what did you ask them for? And they're like, well, I don't know. Like, I told them that we can't do this and we should do this. And I'm like, what did you ask? And they don't have an answer. So, hi, Mom. Good morning. And my point here today is talking about it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't stick. And so mentioning that you are upset, mentioning that you notice a pattern, mentioning I'm crushed by this, mentioning we can't do this anymore, even mentioning what you want it to look like, it won't guarantee that it will stick, because those are mentions. They have a period on the end. You are not asking, or I assume because in my client's case, this has been the case. And even in my case, I am not perfect. Okay, I've done this too all the time. I catch myself. I'm not asking for what I need. And if someone is not providing to us what we need, whether that be a different type of attitude, whether it be a different amount of time we spend together. Stephanie, I'll come back to your question in 1 second. What ends up happening is, if we don't tell them what we do want and ask for it, we're leaving them guessing to figure it out on their own. And that can further leave us upset. So if you're just having, I'm going to give you an example. So let's say, let's say you and your significant other have a group of friends that you all spend time with. And when you are all out with your friends, let's say your significant other, pokes fun at you in front of the group of friends, right? Or it's a little bit embarrassing. Now I'm making this like really innocent. Okay. This is not someone being manipulative or being rude or has a mental disturbance, or like they're just poking fun, right? But let's say it's something you're pretty sensitive about, or you didn't want your friends to know that you have this thing. I don't know, weird mannerism. Maybe you're a slob in secrecy. We'll go with that. And let's say they're like, oh yeah, she's such a slob, or he's such a slob, or they're such a slob, whatever. And you're like, ugh. And then later on, you say to them, hey, when you said that, that was really embarrassing. We can't do that. I don't want to do that anymore. And they'll say, okay, sorry. And then the next time you're with your friends, they're like, da-da-da-da. You spill something. They're like, see, I told you she's a slob. I told you he's a mess. I told you they're... You're like, dude, I told you not to do that. And then you have the conversation again. Like, please don't do that. Do not do that. And what ends up happening is it repeats because there isn't an ask with a question mark on the end. Or maybe, and this is a very small example. So the other possibility here is they don't know what to do instead. So they might think that, the remark was really innocent, and you've got to maybe say to them, I'm asking of you, I'm requesting of you, that you please do not make jokes in front of our friends that say that I'm a slob or a mess. It's important to me because fill in the blank. I work with these people, right? And then have them agree to it. And they say, yes, got it. No jokes about being a slob. No jokes about being a mess. I'm using a very innocent example on purpose. But the point here is so many times we just talk about it and it sounds like we're just complaining about it. And then the person's like, okay, I'll just apologize and make it go away. So they say they're sorry, but then they don't know what we actually want. So asking for what you need, turning the talk or the conversation into a question is so critical. So type yes in the comments if this is hitting home for you at all. Type yes in the comments if you know that there's a moment in your life of like, oh man, I've only been having talks about it and not asking. Or I'm asking, but I'm not giving them a moment to say yes to it. Or to say, I'm not sure I can do that. Let's be clear on what it should look like. So your ask needs to be specific and it needs to have a yes to it, or it is not an agreement. Okay? I actually had a couple come to me years ago who wanted me to coach them, and I did not take them on. I referred them to therapists instead, which I thought was a better fit. Professionally, I'm bound to do that. And as it turned out, 2 years prior, they had had a conversation where she had asked, are we exclusive? And he didn't answer. And then, but he's kept like dating her and spending time with her, and years go by and they move into with one another. And 2 years later, he started seeing somebody else at the same time. And she was devastated, clearly, because she's like, all your actions say you're with me. And he says on this call, he goes, she said, I asked you if you wanted to be exclusive. And he goes, I never said yes. It was kind of awkward for me to witness that, but it was also a major aha moment of like, I never said yes. And I'm like, whoa, how many times do we do that about big things, little things, and all the things in between? So give me something in the comments here, everybody. Let me know if this is like, or ask any follow-up questions, or if there's like a specific example that you want me to dive into, where this might feel more difficult for you. Mention it, because I'm happy to talk about it right now. Stephanie, I'm going to read your comment here. Okay, come on, screen, work with me. Okay, I've always had a problem with communicating. Stephanie says, I've always had a problem with communicating my needs and or disappointments in general. I get passive aggressive and I hold on to those problems. I kept thinking we have to be able to talk about these things. We have to be able to talk about these things. But then I realized there's these talks where we're not only not listening to each other, but we never try to resolve anything. There was never I feel like this, and then following of how I can, oh my gosh, screen. And then a following of how can we fix this? It was always, I feel like this and I feel like that. And then we leave the conversation alone. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Talking about it, everyone, doesn't work. It doesn't always work unless it ends with an ask, a request for something, and a yes to that request. And some people are like, I've gotten rebuttal on my videos before with like people saying, well, what if they don't say yes? And how am I going to, every single time I ask them for something, they need to say, if you want it to stick, yes. They need to be in agreement. And this is where, like, even I was a high school teacher. I taught middle school and high school for 10 years. And I'll tell you, like, even with my teenagers, it was huge with them. I would, instead of telling them to do something, I would ask them, and then I would say, like, do you understand? Yes. And I would even say, okay, cool. Tell me what you heard me say. You told me that I need to do this and this and this. I'm like, okay, perfect. Thank you. It was never from a place of like, do this because I said so, or I talked to you about it. Like, I ask, I explain why, I get the yes from them. It's a sign of respect too, you know? Okay. Stephanie then says, and I never ask if my needs could be met. I never asked what I could do to fix the situation. I just heard how he felt and never acting on anything. Yeah, I feel you. Hi, Christine. Good to see you. Yeah, and Laura says it happens to her all the time. Stephanie, I'm glad this hit home for you. If they don't say yes, then you know where you stand. Whoops. And you can make a logical decision on how to proceed. Yeah. Well, the thing is, if they don't say yes, but also if they say no, and also if it's a question that they can answer, they can also give a different solution. So let's say back with that example I was saying, like, where your partner's joking around and they joke that you're a slob in front of your friends and you're like, hey, I don't like that. Please don't do that. There might be a conversation to be had there of where you might be able to notice, like, why does that bother me so much? Is this an opportunity for me to recognize that being joked with, I'm a slob or messy or whatever it was in that example I used? Like, why does that hurt me so much? And is that something that, I truly, like, that I can just let go of? And that we can just be, and this doesn't even have to be a thing. So sometimes, like, a good self-aware partner can mention it to you, again, in a healthy, I'm not talking about people who are being manipulative or they're like narcissistic tendencies, or I'm not talking about those people. So please don't come at me in the comments. Like, I know those people exist. I'm talking about two people who are committed to being self-aware, emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, okay? And like, I'll even say in my relationship, this has happened. Oh, absolutely. Where, like, I get upset about something and then he mentions to me, like, listen, I hear that this is what happened. I hear that, this is a sensitive spot. He's like, but this has nothing to do with me. This has to do with you. Now, it's said with compassion. And in the moment, I'm like, because because I don't want to take responsibility for my problems. That's dumb. Type amen if you agree. Who wants to take responsibility for their own things? Type amen if you agree with that. But my point is, like, I really appreciated, and I still do, that, like, he can say those things. And I'm like, okay. And it's difficult, right? I don't want to fix my stuff. It's easier to put it on somebody else. All right, let's see. Stephanie says, but not asking and then sticking around once you've asked and can't get a yes is going to have a disaster in the making. And the thing is, too, with that is agreements are the foundation of relationships. Agreements are foundations of the relationship. There's always an agreement in place, agreement to the level of commitment, agreement to how much time you spend together, agreement to how you raise your children, the agreement to, do you have date nights? How do we handle our financial situation? How do we handle other responsibilities? Agreements are the foundation of a relationship. And a lot of times the reason people get upset and it causes fights in relationships is because we set an expectation for someone in our mind that we never verbalize to them or we never ask them for. And then when they don't do that thing that we were expecting, we get upset. I just did that recently. And I was like, I'm not upset at you. I'm upset at, I had an expectation of something that we did not have an agreement about. And I was like, dang it. And then when it didn't happen, I was let down. And then it's like, okay, wait a minute. So it's just something to consider. So anyway, I hope this was supportive. It sounds like it hit home for a number of you. Again, if you watch this live, thank you for putting a 1 in the comments. Thank you for hearts. Thank you for likes. All of that helps to boost this on Facebook. So I just really appreciate that. And you can type 1 in the comments if you watch live, a 2 in the comments if you watch on the replay, or type live or replay. And I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Good, you're so welcome, Laura. I'll be back tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern on Thursday for another session of the Holly Show. So if there's something you'd like for me to talk about specifically, you can always message me or leave a comment below or somewhere on my social media page because I will see it. And if you're interested in working with me, you can go to the link in my bio or comment below apply, and I will send you an application to work with me one-on-one as your relationship coach if you would like private coaching. All right, so thank you all so much for being here. I love you tons. I appreciate you. And until tomorrow, love always and always.